Right, next trick we're going to do is look at presentations. So if we're going to take this one here and just use a simple block behind it just to help it pop up. So just get any kind of straight edge. Obviously you can see I'm not too fussy. Just to give yourself a box to work within. There's two ways to do it. You can just do it straight onto it and just try and be a bit careful, which I'm going to do. Or the other way is that you can cut the drawing out and cut the square out and then stick them over the top of each other so you get this real clean one, which I do recommend doing, but not at a concept level. I would say definitely make that more for a kind of like a development, more finally in presentation. So idea is use a nice bright colour, because you want the bright colour behind it to make this kind of white simpleness stand off. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of some of the construction, because it's just going to detract from the kind of the poppiness of the presentation. So this will be a time where we just keep things a little bit more simplistic, because what we're looking at is doing this one here. That's what we're trying to replicate, something along those lines. So if you go a little bit over the edges of your box, it's okay, you can make your box thicker. But the idea is that your box is smaller and doesn't cover the entire drawing, so it sticks out, so it kind of has that nice kind of bright contrast. Otherwise you might as well just cut it out and stick it onto like a red piece of paper, and that's not exactly what we're after. And what you can do is you can kind of then chuck your shadows onto this surface and kind of just do a lot of different kind of tweaks and kind of approaches. But this is just the basic, just to show students when they want to just lift presentation with something that's quite simple and effective. This is a nice way to do it, because really in design terms this is how you kind of highlight a point. You know, or bold a heading, etc., that you would in other subjects. So this is kind of how you emphasize the design, just to make it stand off. Because what happens is if you render absolutely every design, because you want to present everything lovely, which is great, and you've gone through all that effort, what tends to happen is because everything's rendered, nothing tends to stand out, because it all looks good and nothing kind of looks better or worse or what have you. So because you don't have the different levels of kind of emphasizing a design, you can't say, right, these are my favorite ones, or this is the one here that I was concentrating on materials because I want to do a design based off contrast of concrete versus wood, or whatever the case may be. So that there, yeah, it's done. It's not real tidy. So what I'm going to do is, because we want to get rid of some of those lines, is then we can leave lines in, but we just want them to be a little bit more deliberately left in if we want. So hence the diagonal lines. And you can go over this with a colour pencil as well, and put a purple tone or another colour mixed in with it. I wouldn't really recommend doing two kind of mixes of marker. They tend to stain each other and don't necessarily work that well. You can do a lighter colour first, then a darker colour. That's probably the ones you get away with the most, but I always recommend just testing it on a separate piece of paper. And if you do not want to kind of risk ruining markers, then there just wouldn't be something I'd do. You could quite easily go over this with a colour pencil and get the same result without the risk. And heck, you can do this. Just to give a little bit more visual dynamic. Then from there, what I'm just going to do is we can get a pen, so I had a pen here, and we can now just kind of tidy this edge up and just give it a bit of pop. So just going to use a basic Sharpie. For outlining a design to make it pop, I wouldn't recommend using a Sharpie unless you've got quite thick and you've gone for that real thick thin line type thing. And I don't tend to put ink pen over all the lines of my sketch. I just tend to do it like what you catch in this corner here is the ones that I've darkened up. I tend to do that more just because it's just trying to push values out, so the light and the dark, and just have them kind of contrast a little bit more just to emphasize things. And your lines always towards the top should be a little bit lighter, so that works well. That's nice and tidy there. And I'm just going to go over the drawing with a pen just to help it kind of contrast off a little bit, just to help give it that little bit of pop as I was talking about, because we do want our designs to kind of look a little bit wow. Even if the aesthetics aren't that great, you can always make the presentation of the design itself have kind of a nice appeal to it. So I'm just kind of getting in the inside lines a little bit as well, but really not a whole lot. This pen's a little bit tired, which is not helping, but we will get there. But these lines here should be clean, so don't quite rush as much as me if you can help it. Oh, that line's a bit too thick, but we're just going to have to fix it up. So you can see just how that looks just that much better and tidier compared to what the original was. It just tends to pop a lot more. So there's definitely ways to present a sketch without kind of consuming lots of time, without having to do a full render. Yeah, definitely. So if you want to chuck a shadow on, that'd be the next thing. What I do is the light source is going for this on this one here. So you'd want to do the same thing here as well, because we don't want our design to look like it's set in a disco. So I'm just kind of tracing similar type shape out what the design looks like on the ground, just to help kind of emphasize the realism, rightly or wrongly, and then just looking at trying to kind of construct it a little bit so it works. And then if we just keep it quite loose and simple, what it does is it compensates for our inaccuracy. We want it tidy, but we don't want to kind of make it really kind of outlined and emphasized. So if I want to then put a shadow on here, I can. So there we go there. There's our design, which didn't necessarily look to kind of stand out and look that interesting, and probably would have been brushed over initially. Now looking at it there, it's like, oh, that's quite an interesting design, and you could quite instantly go with, if it was to be rendered, real high contrast for this part, and then, you know, simple colour, so like a grey and then a bright orange or something like that, to give it a bit of visual dynamic, because people look at the designs and they will evaluate them on their aesthetic, not just on the shapes, but also colour choice and all that's very important as well.